There may have been more LaSalle TV shows than athletic events this week, but we will catch you up on all of them. Hello, I'm Gia Lancy.
And I'm Tyler Small. According to the national laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small and it's too fat for... Who put the bee movie in the teleprompter again? You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics SportLine.
Welcome to SportLine. Siobhan Nolan comes to desk later to talk the Big 5 Atlantic 10 rivalry game this weekend.
And later, SportLine producer Izzy Clark sat down with an old buddy, Chris Lewis, to talk about a little bit of track, but plenty more than that.
But first, let's take a look at our SportLine Top 3.
Director Brian Baptiste recently announced the hiring of Denise Smith as Chief of Staff. Smith formerly held dual roles of the Assistant Athletic Director for Team Operations for the Olympic Sports and the Director of Basketball Operations for Women's Basketball at Kansas. Smith also worked in basketball operations at the University of Memphis, Kansas State University, and the Detroit Shock in the WNBA.
Number 2 comes from the track as redshirt senior Nathan Gillis continued his excellence, earning his second straight Atlantic 10 Performer of the Week honor. The Oxford native took home the gold in the 800-meter run at the Penn State National Open with a time just under a minute 50. This was just less than a second ahead of teammate Anthony Hawthorne and 2 seconds improved from Gillis's winning time at the Penn 8 Team Select competition. We'll have more of that on the track and field team later in recaps.
And number 3. Third-year LaSalle baseball head coach David Miller has announced the signing of 7 student-athletes to National Letter of Intent to join the program in 2020-2021. The list is as follows: Frank Ellisalt from Miami, Florida, Jack Clement from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Will Binder from Yardley, Pennsylvania, Greg Bozo from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, Nick Hammer from Turnersville, New Jersey, Ryan Nutley from Logan Township, New Jersey, and Pat Toll from Springfield, Pennsylvania. For the third consecutive year, Miller has brought in a nationally ranked recruiting class. This year's class is currently ranked 58th in the country by Perfect Game and first among the A-10 conference schools.
Yeah, so I'm really glad to hear about the hiring of Denise. I mean, I think that there was really that lack of female representation in the office over there, especially since we have mostly female sports.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have more than male, of course, but I think above all else, just kind of listening that resume is unreal to come here. Multiple
seriously.
Universities, the Olympics. I mean, she really has a nose for this. She really has worked in plenty of different atmospheres, and she could bring a lot of new information and opportunities to the LaSalle table.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I think that that's showing something for Brian Baptiste also, because I mean, he's hiring such big ranked people, and I mean, big feet to fill, for the next
Yeah, you're 100% right.
hiring
And just
that he's going to do. So
also to talk about baseball again, I mean, David Miller's third year here, and he has 3 Perfect Game top 100 recruiting classes. I mean, a couple to point out, I mean, Pat Toll, brother of Tommy Toll on the team, so 2 infielders that could have great chemistry. Of course, it'll be a senior-freshman connection, but that'll be huge for him to kind of take those steps.
Right.
Nick Hammer. I'm sorry, what a name. What a baseball name. So I'm very excited for that. But I mean, this whole recruiting class, especially targeting pitching, is going to be huge for this team.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, that's it for this week's top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in the recaps. The men's basketball team fell to Duquesne on Saturday to continue their 7-game losing streak, but they did not do it without a fight. At the beginning of the first half, it was a close game with a tied score with just under 10 minutes left, until the Dukes went on a 13-2 run to take the lead before half. The Explorers fought to bring the margin closer, and they did make it a 2-point differential after a 3 by senior Saul Fury. A turnover by Duquesne gave LaSalle a chance to tie the game with only 1.1 seconds left, and junior David Beatty was fouled on a 3-point attempt. But after he missed the second attempt and purposely missed the third, the Dukes won after a defensive rebound with a score of 71-69.
The LaSalle women's basketball team traveled up to the Bronx to take on the defending A-10 champion Fordham Rams. The Explorers were looking to end the winning drought against the Rams, as the Rams have won the last 7 meetings dating back to February of 2012. The Rams took advantage of the first half as they maintained a close lead over the Explorers, 29-25 at halftime. The Rams continued to dominate the court throughout the rest of the second half, but the Explorers looked to end the home team's run. The Blue and Gold scored 8 unanswered points in the third period to cut Fordham's lead down to 1, but LaSalle could not keep up with Fordham's momentum as they dropped the contest 62-45. Claire Jacobs led the Explorers with 11 points, and senior Shalina Miller picked up 9 rebounds.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously that was a rough game for them, but they are on a 3-game winning streak, so there is something for a home, sorry. They're on a 3-game winning streak at home. But so there is a lot to look forward to, but a little bit of a rough patch. So what do you think they can do moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take this Fordham loss too deep. I mean, getting held to 45 points is their second lowest on the season, but this Fordham team is just as strong as they were last season.
Right.
They're looking to repeat as A10 champions. But just the ability, they had a lot of focus on Claire Jacobs. She was only able to muster up 11 points, but that's still a high percentage of their
Right, and she still had the
total.
highest. So
Yeah, exactly, her highest point total. But I mean, I'm going to say this for women's. I'm also going to say this for men's. I mean, both of them not really having great A10 records, but it really just matters putting into your best basketball when March comes around, when it gets to the A10 tournament, because everyone gets in, obviously, so it's just big for them to kind of find their niche as they get to that point.
Yep, I totally agree. Well, the men's track team traveled to Happy Valley over the weekend to take on the Penn State National Open. Nathan Gillis led the blue and gold with his headliner 800-meter win, leaving the redshirt senior undefeated in the 800-meter appearances this season. Fellow explorer Anthony Hawthorne took second in the event, with less than a 1-second difference between the two. Between the two LaSalle finishers, redshirt sophomore Ryan James finished 5th in his 5,000-meter appearance, edging ahead of the crowded field of 14 runners. Junior Dennis Manea excelled off the track, placing 8 out of 25th in the high jump with a 2.06-meter leap.
Women's track and field took part in the Penn State National Open over the weekend. Freshman Jerika Lufrano was the Explorers' top finisher as she took 3rd in the mile run with a time just under 5 minutes. Sophomore Elle Mancini finished 4th out of 10 finishers in the 3,000-meter run. Her young sister Christine Mancini took 12th in the 800-meter run with a time of 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Senior Jessica Bryant leaped 5.6 meters all the way to 9th out of 30 competitors in the long jump. And finally, her classmate Desiree Olsey ran the 300-meter in 36 seconds.
Women's water polo opened up their season with a pair of wins on Saturday against George Washington and St. Francis Brooklyn. The junior class ruled the day as a trio of them led the stats for the blue and gold. Sarah DeFusco led LaSalle in the first match with 5 goals and 1 assist. Madison Martinez scored twice in the first match and later scored 5 against the Terriers. Jillian Delisle tallied 10 assists for the day to end the back-to-back wins. On Sunday, the Explorers had 2 additional matches, but sadly fell a little short in those 2. The team fell to St. Francis in a close score of 9-8, and they later dropped a game Salem 18-9.
On Saturday, LaSalle men's tennis competed in their first dual match, losing to 4-time defending conference champion Monmouth University 4-0. Junior Rogelio Gonzalez and Connor Merrill scored 6-4 victories against Monmouth, who were defeated only once last year while competing in doubles. Their third match went to Monmouth by scoring of 6-4, giving them a 1-0 advantage over LaSalle. In individual competition, LaSalle was making it tougher on their opponents, but weren't lucky enough to earn victories. Gonzalez was up for a short period of time, as well as junior Colin Lucius and freshman Gage Sanchez, who were tied 1-1 in their matches. But because of a team victory earlier in the game, that was more than enough for the Monmouth to score a victory over LaSalle and end their hopes of starting off the season with a victory.
That's it for recaps, and after this quick break, SportLine producer Isaiah Clark sits down with Track's Chris Lewis. Stay tuned.
Kylie loves to an egg.
An egg?
An egg.
How does a general lose to an egg?
The internet's to an egg.
You know, there is a show for that. It's called Backstage Pass.
You see the new library plan?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, they're doing stuff in the library.
Oh. In the library?
Yeah.
The new library.
You know, there is a show for that called LTV News where the action never stops.
I wonder how the basketball team feels.
You know, there is a show for that called SportLine.
So are you a Carson Wentz or Nick Foles guy?
More of a Nate Sudfeld team.
Oh, really? Interesting. Wonder where we can hear about Philly sports.
You know, there's a show for that called Sports Talk Philadelphia.
You like Family Feud?
Yeah.
You like all shows like that?
Yeah.
I wonder if LaSalle has a show like that. That'd be kind of cool.
There is a show for that called Q&A.
I really wish that we could just display our talents.
Yeah, me too.
There is a show for that called Explorers Got Talent.
All this and more on LaSalle TV.
The worst. Welcome back. Earlier today, Isaiah Clark got to sit down with his friend, Chris Lewis. You'll definitely want to check it out.
Welcome
like
on the
that.
sideline. My name's Isaiah Clark, and right now I'm sitting with Track's Chris Lewis. I know him as Chris Chan Lewis. I don't know when he started going by Chris. This is news to me. Everyone knows you as Chris. When did this happen? At Calvert Hall, huh?
No,
Calvert Hall?
it definitely happened. Actually, yes, at Calvert Hall. Not gonna lie.
Despicable.
Yeah, so I got tired of people mispronouncing my name, so I'd get Christian, which is understandable. Christian, understandable. But somehow I got Krishlin, Kirschlin, everything in between there. So I was just like, you know, it's Chris. And
So basically you had a poor experience at Calvert Hall. And you should have went to Curly instead.
I never said that. definitely toward the two, and Calvert Hall is for me.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Would not change it. Best 4 years of my life.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe LaSalle is your best 4 years of your life,
No.
you know. All right. So
We'll see.
when did track start? You track started in Calvert Hall as well?
Track
or?
did start at Calvert Hall. So thankful for Calvert Hall for that.
Yeah.
But started my freshman year, I ran track after football season, and I ended up high jumping. But my coach wouldn't let me run, and I was like, Coach, I'm fast, I promise
Yeah.
you. And he was like, No, you're a jumper. So then I quit. And I did another sport. I did rugby actually for some odd reason. But the next year, sophomore year, I came back as a runner and fell in love with it. So I've been
You know,
doing
we
it
have
since sophomore year.
a Hall of Fame coach at Curly for track who would have let you run. He texted anybody as a runner.
We have Hall of Fame athletes at at Calvert Hall.
Hey, you heard of Deontay Harris? He was a Pro Bowler this year. He went to Curly.
Have you heard of Chris Lewis? He's
Ooh,
currently at
ooh.
LaSalle, and he's a graduate of Calvert Hall.
Okay. All right. So you're in your second season now. Is it any easier this year to run against bigger competition?
Definitely, I would actually say a lot harder, just because you feel like you actually getting older in your body, so you got to work twice as hard, and everything's not new anymore. So like you don't have those. You have extra weight on you because you're expected to perform a certain way because you did it last season. So last season I had no expectation. This season I have all the expectations. So it's definitely different feel mentally and physically, but overall still fun. Still love the sport.
So you're still winning a few events though. So I mean, it can't be that big of an adjustment, right?
I win when I can, definitely, but it definitely feels a lot different from last year. Last year, every win was a surprise. This year, every win is like a, you just got that one. Like keep going, keep the momentum up. Right. So yeah, it's definitely.
So right here off screen, our producer Steve Savasho, he wants me to explain our connection. So our connection, we actually started in elementary school. Went to elementary school together, right?
We sure did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then our parents, our moms actually are friends, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
they taught together for a while at the same school
did.
for years. So they were friends before we were friends.
Yeah,
so,
right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's our connection. There you go.
Yeah.
We went to elementary school together. Our moms are friends.
I was also close with your sister.
Yeah, Victoria,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, because you're about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, yeah. Grade under?
Yeah, grade under.
Grade
yeah.
under, yeah.
Yeah, and that's our connection.
That's our connection.
All right. So moving on to actual track stuff. So you have a few seniors on the team that are performing pretty well. Do you, Nathan Gillis, for example, do you have any inspiration from him and his experience?
Definitely. I think the seniors on the team as a whole set such a positive tone and a hardworking tone for us younger guys to follow in their footsteps, because they're huge footsteps. Not gonna lie, it's kind of not intimidating, but it makes everyone want to work harder because you have kids like Nathan and Anthony and Grace doing these great things, and you have Ache Hall, Jessica Bryant, Desiree Osley on the sprint side doing great things, and it makes you want to strive for more. So they definitely set just like a positive tone for the program that everyone wants to come in and, if not be them, best them.
Yeah,
So
right.
like, yeah,
Right.
definitely.
And in the fall, cross country, I know you don't run cross country,
Yeah.
obviously, but cross country won a championship. So it's like track and field trying to match that right now.
Oh
like,
yeah, it's a huge debate in the office. Like, yeah, track's better, no, cross country's better. So I know me and a teammate of mine, Ibrahim, have a bet saying who will win the most A10s medals. So
Okay.
he has one more than me as of now, but I do one more event than him. So hopefully I can win that bet.
But you got an event this weekend, right?
Yeah, coming
Yeah,
up, I have
there you
the
go.
200.
There it is. That's the
So-
match right there.
That's the match right there. Yeah.
All right. So is there any? I know that it's like we run outside, right? Like, so is there any like track preference so far? Like you've been a few places. Is there like
Been to a
one that
few
you like
places.
the most?
Okay, so indoor, I definitely like Ocean Breeze the most in Staten Island, just because I don't know. I like the bank track. I think it's very open and airy and bright and everything. Penn State is nice, but it's just darker, and I just like a bright environment to run in. Outdoor, I don't think I have a favorite for outdoor. I think all the tracks in the collegiate circuit that we go to, at least, are very similar, and there's no like vibe that are really different. So outdoor, we'll see after the season ends if I have a favorite. Maybe next year I'll tell you.
So let's talk about Maryland a little bit. I got a question. Who's your favorite Maryland athlete?
Other than me?
Other than you, yeah. I have to pick someone that's not you.
Favorite Maryland athlete? Tavon Austin.
Tavon Austin.
Definitely Tavon Austin, yeah.
All right, hold on. We gotta take a time out. We have a shoe cam right now. Can we go to shoe cam?
Okay.
Shoe cam. There you go. Shoe cam. These aren't even these are his rain shoes.
Yeah.
These aren't even.
I just wear these.
He wears these in the rain.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
If I'd have known it was a shoe cam, I would have worn like good shoes. Like these are mids. I'd have put on my highs or something. I don't know.
Look at.
Yeah.
Wait, let me put my shoe in there. Yeah. Nah, just leave this now. Yeah. Perfect. Beautiful. All right.
A little fashion show going on.
Yeah. Look quick fashion. All right. So go back to Maryland. Let's go back to Maryland because they talk about Philly a lot on this show. So let's go to Maryland. What's your favorite location? Probably in Baltimore and probably not in Maryland, but like, what's your favorite spot in the city?
I have so many. I love going down to the harbor, but I think that's just a generic answer.
That's
Like
your
everyone
generic
loves going to the
answer, yeah.
harbor.
Pick somewhere else.
There's this taco place in Fells Point called Poppy's Tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you knew about it. But yeah, Poppy's Tacos,
Yeah.
I love their food. I'm really good friends with the owners. Like,
I've only been there once, so you got to give me
been
a
there, like,
connection.
3 or 4 times, but yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I think so. That's my favorite, like, just chill out place. Yeah.
All right. That's all we have here, so I'm sending it back to the desk.
I love the connection between these two. You can obviously tell they've been friends for a while. But also it's really nice that Chris has such big shoes to fill and literally big steps. You get it? Because he plays track. But not plays, does track.
He does.
Anyway, but yeah. So, I mean, I really loved their connection. It was a fun interview.
Yeah, you can tell it was a lot of fun. Definitely one of our most fun interviews we've had here in studio.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, our athletic director, Brian Baptiste, saw a fantastic first semester of academic in the department as 14 of the 23 athletic programs earned 3.0 GPA or higher. Led by the women's cross country team at a 3.7, the Explorers excelled at sports while playing as volleyball, field hockey, women's and men's soccer all earned this higher honors while in season. Each team came with a list of athletes that earned perfect 4.0 GPAs for the season, totaling over 22 athletes. Women's cross country held the highest with 7 competitors, while field hockey was a close behind with 6. I think it's really interesting that the teams that were the highest were all in season too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just takes that like full 24-hour dedication if you really like break it down. I mean,
Absolutely.
cross country above all else, because most of those athletes are just year round.
Right.
So-
They literally are playing fall, winter, spring, the whole year, and I'm sure their GPAs are also going to be good
Yeah, no,
in the
100
semester as well.
Yeah, it'll be a lot easier when they have a little bit more time, right? Like for volleyball, for example, or field hockey. But
Right.
yeah, cross country definitely the best up there with 3.7. Females really dominating the board
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
We'll have to see. But we have one more break, but when we come back, we'll check out this week's Explorer Report. Stay tuned. I went from like...
see my friends out there getting waves and talking about them, and I know exactly what they're doing and what they're feeling and everything. It's like, it's hard. I was diagnosed when I was 57. It was a surprise to me when they told me I had MS. It's like, you sure?
Well, the idea is this is a 360-degree virtual reality camera rig. Steve hasn't been able to ride a wave in way too many years, so now I'm going to ride a wave and we get to share it with him. Well, we're going to do something.
Just put that on your head. Whoa. Oh, this is unreal. Coming up, coming up, coming up. Boom. Nice. Nice. This is fantastic.
Yeah, let me set it up and you get into
Set
the
it up.
ride.
Let's do that again.
Before we get to the Explorer Report, here are some upcoming games this week. On Friday, the track and field team competes in the Albany Winter Classic.
Women's lacrosse opens their season on Saturday in New York against Manhattan.
Women's water polo will take part in the weekend-long Bison Invite starting on Friday.
Women's basketball stays at home on Sunday and takes on the Richmond Spiders for senior night.
And on Wednesday, both men's and women's basketball play at 7. The men are home against Richmond and the women are away at George Washington.
There's plenty of LaSalle sports action this upcoming week, so let's welcome Siobhan Nolan for this week's Explorer Report.
Thanks, Gia. On Saturday, February 8th, the LaSalle men's basketball team will be taking on the St. Joe's Hawks at Tom Goal Arena. The Explorers might be on a 7-game losing streak, but they are hoping to take advantage of the Hawks' 2-7 away record, along with their current 4-game losing streak. The Hawks have a lethal weapon in terms of redshirt junior guard Ryan Daly, who currently holds both the Big 5 and Atlantic 10 Player of the Week honors. He averages 28.5 points per game, which leads the Hawks and is tied for the lead in the entire Atlantic 10 division. Compared to the Blue and Gold's points leader Isaiah Deese, who averages 11.5 points per game. Although Daly is certainly a standout player, the Explorers have their own stars in senior Isaiah Deese, along with names like David Beatty, Ed Croswell, and Gerard Kimbo that we've been hearing a lot this season. While the Explorers roster may be stacked, they have an iffy 5-5 record at home, coupled with an admittedly abysmal 1-8 record within the conference. Taking on the Hawks at home might not seem like much of a challenge on paper, but it could definitely prove itself to be a win that the Explorers will have to fight for. Either way, we should be in for a great A-10 matchup this Saturday.
Thanks, Siobhan. So yeah, we'll just talk about it a little bit. I mean, this should be a good game because they're both at the bottom of the A-10 standings. And I mean, they both have had rough A-10 play.
Plus, let's give them a little bit of credit. This is a historic rivalry. I mean,
this is
a
true.
Big 5
I mean, it'll
rivalry,
definitely be a fun game for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going back and forth at it. But you're right. I mean, it is a toilet bowl kind of game.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are you guys expecting from this game?
I mean, St. Joe's has lost 9 out of their last 10 games. LaSalle's lost 7 out of their last 10. So there's not a big disparity between their play just in general. But Ryan Daly's been the standout star for the Hawks, but he's kind of the only one. He's the big player there. Meanwhile, we have Isaiah Deese, Ed Croswell, David Beatty. So we definitely have the advantage of more star players, you could say. Meanwhile, the Hawks really only have Ryan Daly right now.
Right.
Yeah. And you never want a team that's top heavy like that. And that's why it's great that 3 Explorers are in double digits for the average on the season. And one big factor in this one, I mean, Isaiah Deese has been our talk throughout the entire season along with Ed Croswell. But David Beatty has been on quite a tear lately. He has 11.7 points per game averaged in his last 5. So he's really been some of the leading scorers in these past couple of games, getting as high as 16 points in one of those games. So he's definitely going to be someone to stretch the offense and for someone to look out for because he still has the highest 3-point field goal percentage on the team.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just evident that this team's so young because they have such a hard time with such things that they shouldn't be having a hard time with. But I just think it's because of the youngness of the team. And I think Coach Ashley Howard has been doing a good job with it, but they really don't wake up until the total end of the game. So
No, and if you look back at it, I mean, 1-8 in the conference is always going to look bad, but there are 3 winnable games in there that just came down to pretty much one possession games. 2 of them coming in the past couple of weeks, and you could kind of attribute that to their top 3 scorers struggling so heavily from the free throw line.
Yep.
Isaiah Dees, highest points per game on the team, 67% from the line. Ed Croswell, 56% from the line, and 64% from the line for David Beatty, our hottest player. That right there, you bump up their free throw percentage to over 50 or 20% higher, for example, or you just get some better late game execution. There would be 4 and 5 in the conference as opposed to 1-8. So
yeah,
really is difficult.
So I think we just have to kind of expect a pretty close game, I would say, because they're very similar in their records right now. But I think LaSalle's definitely been on the uptake lately. And as cheesy as it sounds, I think we just kind of have to trust the process with the youngness of this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they definitely have the potential to, improve and get better as time goes on.
You're 100% right. And then again, I mentioned it with women's, but it's just whoever gets the hottest for those A-10 playoffs. That's all that matters. Seeding really doesn't.
Yeah.
So we'll see if either of these teams could really get hot at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, this will definitely be a fun game. We'll talk about our picks. So I have LaSalle winning, but obviously with an extremely close game. I think I have a 1 point. Yep, 76-75. How do you guys feel?
The same way. I mean, I think I have it as a very close game, 1 possession. So I think that the Explorers will be able to capitalize on the home court, capitalize on the bigger crowd for the weekend. I think it'll be 75-72.
Yeah, I also had LaSalle winning. Again, I think it's going to be a close game, 75-70, but I think we can pull it together. I think we can exploit St. Joe's, so I think we have what it takes.
I think that the confidence going into this game, they really hyped this game up, so I really think that they're going to pull out a victory.
Yeah.
But that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. This week's poll question is, should we have a poll question this week?
I didn't make that up. For Siobhan, Isaiah, and our SportsLine team, I'm Gia Lancey.
And I'm Tyler Small. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.